Hey guys, I'm back today with the story time. I haven't been on YouTube in a while. I actually stopped doing YouTube because I just felt like it wasn't taking off. But before I made this video, I had put on Instagram, like, you know, would y'all even be interested, because I'm not about to waste my time. But majority of people, the majority voted yes. So the majority voted yes that they would be interested in the story time. So I'm giving y'all a story time. And I also wanted to do a story time because when I found out I was pregnant, I would watch other people's story times as like encouragement for me to like tell my parents, or just to find other people's, you know, that I could relate to. Because y'all, when I found out, I was not okay. Like, I was like, this can't be real life. Like, I was not trying to believe it. But yeah, so that's all. Just to try to help other girls who might be going through the same thing, because if your friend is pregnant and she's, you know, fairly young, like I'm 20 years old, so and she's fairly young and don't know how her parents gonna take it, yeah, she gonna need all that support. So if you know somebody going through this, just please be there to support them, because my friends was there to support me. Even my little sister was there to support me, and she younger than me. So yeah, y'all, you just gotta, it's just good to have people to, you know, talk to and be in your corner. So I don't know if I said it already, but yeah, I'm 31 weeks pregnant today, which is 7 months. So I'm currently 7 months pregnant. We got 2 more months to go until my baby gets here, and I'm having a girl. I wanted a girl so bad, so I'm gonna put in a clip from the gender reveal, but I'm sure y'all saw it. But I'm having a girl.
I knew it.
So yeah, let's get into it. Y'all, I did not find out I was pregnant until I was 5 months. And this is how I found out. So basically, I was having suspicions, like I was suspicious or whatever. Oh, and before I even start, because I know y'all gonna be like, well, 5 months, like you didn't recognize your period wasn't coming. I have an irregular cycle, so I've skipped 5 months of my period before without me being pregnant. So I didn't think nothing of it. Like, I don't come on every month, y'all. So I wasn't really thinking nothing of it. So that's just to get the period thing out the window, because that was the first question a lot of people asked me, like, oh, so you didn't know, you didn't realize your period, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't come on every month. So that's why I didn't pay attention to my period or whatever. So yeah, so I found out when I was 5 months or whatever, and I had suspicions. So my first suspicion was like my breast was getting bigger, and I asked my best friend, and she told me like, you was tripping. I had asked her sister, like, you know, do my stomach look like it's getting bigger? Like, do I look pregnant to you? She like, no, if you was pregnant, your stomach would be hard, your stomach is still squishy or whatever, y'all. Like, everybody was telling me like I was tripping. When I say everybody was telling me I was tripping, like even my cousin, so my cousin, she had a baby too or whatever. So I'm asking her, like, you know, what symptoms did you have when you was pregnant or whatever? So she kind of described some of her symptoms, and mine weren't lining up, but they weren't lining up. But y'all, I don't know, like I was suspicious, but I was in denial. That's what we gonna say. I was very much in denial. Like, I was like, no, this can't, like, it's not gonna happen to me. Like, I couldn't imagine myself being pregnant, so I just didn't want to believe. I just didn't believe it. Like, I didn't accept it. So what happened after that? So I'm asking my cousin, you know, what her symptoms were. So the symptoms I had, what was the first one? I did have morning sickness. I would wake up feeling nauseous and stuff, but like I wouldn't throw up. So I would just feel sick, and if I didn't, the longer I waited to eat, the more I felt sick. Then like certain smells started to like just make me feel like terrible. Like this soap we have in our bathroom right now, like I use my body wash to wash my hands because I hate the smell of this soap, but we have this soap in my bathroom right now, and that smell would just make me feel like, ugh, like I was about to gag. Like I couldn't stand it. So so like kind of like, did I have food aversions? So I did have food aversions, y'all. But when I had food aversions, I thought it was COVID, because I had took an at-home COVID test or whatever, and it came back positive. Mind you, I first started throwing up, like, what was it, 2 days after Thanksgiving. I was at my best friend's house, me, her mom, and her were on the couch watching TV or whatever, and I was throughout the night I was fine. Throughout the night I was fine because me and her mom was watching the show or whatever, and I tried to stay up as long as I could with her, but y'all, she is a night owl, so I fell asleep. But as soon as I woke up, I had to throw up. So I'm thinking it's what we ate, because the night before we had pot pies or whatever. So I'm like, the pot pies had to be bad or whatever. But I threw up like twice or whatever, and then I was just feeling nauseous. Like, so that's when it first started. That's when I had first threw up, and I was throwing up ever since that day for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks straight. Like, I was throwing up. When I say every day nonstop, I could only eat like, I would try to eat stuff, but nothing was like just nothing was agreeing with me. So like I was only eating chicken noodle soup. I was trying to eat crackers and stuff. I threw up tea. I threw up the tea. I threw up water. I threw up the salads, everything. Like, I was trying to eat this, you know, trying to find something to eat, the fruits and stuff. I just couldn't do it, y'all. So I was just throwing up everything. So I did try to go to the doctors for that. So I'm sorry. Every time you like put foundation on or something, or makeup in general, it make your nose run. Like, it won't make my nose run. I don't know about y'all, but it makes my nose run. So I might have to get some tissue. But I was throwing up everything. So I went to urgent care, and I was like, you know, I told them like, yeah, I'm throwing up. I'm just not feeling good or whatever. So they like, oh, it's COVID symptoms, so you need to go to the hospital. So I'm like, okay. So I was not about to go to the hospital. I did not want to go to the hospital, because I was like, I'm going to be waiting forever. Eventually I was throwing up real bad, and I was tired of it. Like, maybe this was like a week after I went to urgent care. I was tired of it, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and I was sitting in the emergency room, y'all, for 10 hours. I waited in the emergency room for 10 hours. I was throwing up in the hospital, like, but it was so busy that day. So what happened was, they put me in a sick room because I told them that my test came back positive for COVID. Y'all, I'm sorry, when you're pregnant, you like run out of breath just by talking. So give me a little bit, because I'm running out of breath. So they had put me in a sick room or whatever, and the sick room is separate from the waiting room, of course, but it's with everybody who got COVID. So I'm sitting there with a bunch of people who got COVID. One girl crying, this other man just keep talking to us. Like, you know how old people be, they just keep talking. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't in the mood to talk. I was just waiting for somebody to come get me. So, you know, time flying by, and I'm like, I'm still waiting in here. So my aunt like goes to the front desk, like, you know, see what's going on. So mind you, my aunt, my grandmother, my mom, they all knew I was at the hospital waiting to be seen or whatever. So they like, oh yeah, go to the front desk and ask them what's going on. So I go to the front desk. I'm like, you know, I've been here since this time. I've been I had went to them, and they was like, oh well, you know, your name not on the list no more. I'm like, what you mean my name not on the list no more? Like, I've been waiting for hours. Like, what do you mean? So she like, yeah, your name's not on the list. Like, you didn't hear your name be called or whatever? So I'm like, no. I said, they put me in the sick room, so I can't hear in there. Like, they have to actually come in the room and get me. So she was like, oh, that's probably why they put you in a sick room and nobody went in there and got you. So when they called your name in the main, you know, hallway or whatever, you weren't aware. So they took me off the list. So she like, I'm gonna put you back on your next in line. I'm like, okay. So I go back in the sick room and I'm waiting. It's 2 more hours went by. After the 2 hours went by, y'all, I was like, y'all, I'm going home. Like, I'm hungry. I'm already throwing up in the hospital. I might as well just go home and throw up in my own toilet instead of a public bathroom, because it's just disgusting. So I just went back home. I just left the hospital. So the next day, I called my primary care doctor, and since I had COVID, mind y'all, I don't live in Baltimore no more. So I live like an hour from Baltimore. So my primary care doctor at the time was in Baltimore. So I'm like, I'm saving clothes. Mind y'all, this is in November. I forgot to say that. This was in November. So I'm like, yeah, I had COVID or whatever, but I keep throwing up, and I don't know if this is a symptom, like the new strand or whatever, but something not right. So they was like, yeah, well, the most we can do is you know, see you from the car, like test you out from your car window. I was just like, I mean, it makes sense, but it don't make sense because you're a doctor's office. I don't know. I just felt something. I don't know. So I was just like, I'm not driving an hour away feeling how I feel just to be seen from a car. Like, I just felt like that was stupid, so I just didn't go. So y'all, that's 3 times I tried to get medical care or see what was wrong with me. If I would have, you know, been seen at urgent care, if I would have been seen at the hospital or my primary care doctor, we would have been knew I was pregnant in November, but they ain't take me, so we ain't know. So what else? Oh, I had took another COVID test eventually. It was still positive. So y'all, I don't know if me being pregnant was like messing with the test or whatever. Like, I don't know how that worked, but I said I had COVID. So yeah, so that was that. So eventually I'm starting to think, like, you know, I'm looking up this symptom of throwing up with COVID and stuff, and it was, you know, it's there for the new strain or whatever. It was there, but it wasn't something that everybody had a problem with. So I started thinking that I got like a eating disorder. Yeah, I started thinking I had like an eating disorder or something. So I'm looking up like digestive problems or whatever, and not an eating disorder, but like digestive problems. So I'm looking them up, and I did find one. I forgot the name of it. So I did find one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this might be like what's wrong with me. Like, you know, this might be what's going on. Like, my stomach is bloated and stuff. Like, y'all, it was weird because like my stomach would be like flat, but when I ate, it would blow up, but it would go back down. So that's another reason why I didn't think I was pregnant, because I'm like, when you're pregnant, your stomach don't go back down. Like, but yeah, so that's another thing I thought. Like, you know, I was just basically looking up anything except pregnancy because I was in denial. For one, I was in denial. 2, my COVID test came back positive, so I didn't think I was pregnant. I thought it was COVID, or I thought I had a digestive problem. So then what happened after that? So, you know, so yeah, I told you how my stomach would blow up and then go back down. Well, one day I realized my stomach wasn't going back down. I realized my stomach was not going back down. I was like, I'm like, no, like, this not normal. So I'm thinking I'm gaining weight, but I'm like, how am I gaining weight if I haven't been eating? Like, I wasn't eating for like 2 weeks straight, so how am I gaining weight? I would be losing weight. So, you know, I still tried to work out. Like, I still was like, okay, nah, like, you know, this not, you know, I can't, my clothes don't look right no more. Like, you know, my crop tops and my shorts and stuff, they wasn't really looking right. Not shorts, but you know, I was like, it just wasn't looking right. So I'm trying to work out and stuff, not working. So then another symptom I had was my breast started leaking. That's one thing nobody tells you, or that nobody told me in general about pregnancy, that your boobs leak before you start breastfeeding. I didn't know that. So I'm looking up I started looking that up too. Of course, every time we look something up about your body and you're a female, for females in general, when we look stuff up, the first thing that popped up for us is pregnancy. So when it kept popping up, I didn't think, it was just like, nah, I don't know, I was in denial. So I was like, nah, like, you know, that's not it. So I found something else about it that was, man, I forgot the name of that too, y'all. Everything that I looked up that I thought was wrong with me, I forgot the name of it. So I thought it was that instead of me being pregnant. So then eventually, you know, my boobs was getting larger, my stomach was showing, what else? And then, you know, my boobs started leaking like excessively at this point. So I text the group chat. So in the group chat is me, my little sister, my best friend, my best friend's best friend, and I call her my soul sister or whatever. So I'm gonna show y'all a picture of us too. But yeah, so it's all of us in the group chat or whatever. So I'm texting them and I'm crying. So yeah, I'm crying. I'm like, yo, I think I'm pregnant. Like, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm pregnant. Like, I need to take a test, but I don't want to take it alone. So, oh yeah, and I told my cousin too. So, sorry, I'm making sure I'm keeping up with my notes that I said. So yeah, I'm on track. So, I told my cousin too. So my cousin, she lives out here, but everybody in the group chat, they live an hour away. So my cousin like, well, yeah, I'll take the test with you, whatever. Y'all, I was scared to take the test. Like, I was like, the test either gonna say I'm pregnant or I'm not. And I'm like, if it say I'm not pregnant, then cool. I said, but if it say I am pregnant, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I telling my parents? Like, what am I gonna do? So, yeah. So I was not trying to take the test. I was very hesitant. I procrastinated on taking the test actually because I was scared. So, I waited until my best friend and them could come out here and take it with me. So they came out here, and I have a video from that day too that I'm putting here because we was gonna start vlogging then, but I did not keep up.
What's up, y'all? We're at Sailor's house.
Oh my God, surprise! Wow.
Sailor took a pregnancy test. It's February the 26th, 2022. Sailor took a pregnancy test. Took two, and we have a baby.
It's a girl. They're gonna be like, why is someone so baby? She just not take up.
It's your baby. My best friend is a mom. She's a mother. No drama. Her, no drama.
So yeah, so that's when I took these two tests. So they had came, yo. So let me tell y'all about the day I took the test. So the day I took the test was, mind you, I live with my grandfather and my uncle. The day I took the test, everybody wants to come over. Like, my aunt came over, my mom came over with my siblings and my stepfather. Like, everybody was here. So I was like, bro. And then plus Tiana and Tiana, Denaya, and Simone were also here. So while everybody was in the house, we were just in the living room, like waiting for them to leave or whatever, like before I took it. So we were waiting for them to leave, and my mom was like, oh yeah, hey y'all, like, you know, just regular her, you know, she was happy or whatever, she was chilling. Eventually everybody left, and mind you, we had, when they first came down, we had went to go get the test earlier that day. We just didn't take it. I don't know why we waited so long to take the test. It was probably me, because I don't remember, but it was probably me. I probably was scared. So yeah, so we ended up taking it later at night. So but by the time they came to take the test, it was kind of just for like confirmation, because we all kind of already knew I was pregnant. Like, once I sent them the picture of my stomach, they was just like, oh, when I was like, yeah, I'm like, yo, this is no way I'm not, like, because they were still telling me they don't think I was. When I sent them the picture of my stomach, I was like, it's no way, like, it's no way. So they was like, oh, like, yeah. So it was just for confirmation, for real. So I took it, and they were positive. I don't know if y'all can see that. Much, yeah. They were positive or whatever. So they were happy, but because they didn't know how I was gonna react, they was like keeping their composure or whatever. Like, so we all sat in here. We all sat on the floor. I don't know why we didn't sit on the bed. We were just sitting on the floor. We was talking, and I didn't cry or nothing because they were there. And plus, like I said, it was for confirmation, so I didn't cry or anything. I told my cousin, and yeah, so she was just like, what? Like, you know, my cousin was shocked because, like, I'm like her baby or whatever. So this is my older cousin, so I'm like her baby or whatever. So she was like, you know, she was just like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, my baby's having a baby, blah blah blah. Like, yeah. So that was, you know, how she reacted. So these are the people that knew first. So then we just sat here talking about it, and I was trying to figure out like how I'm gonna tell my parents and stuff. And they was like, well, you need to tell them ASAP. But my best friend basically told me, like, well, whatever you choose to do is what you choose to do. Because, y'all, when I was telling them that I thought I was pregnant and stuff, I was like, y'all, I don't know. Like, you know, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't have no baby. Like, I was like, I don't got the money for a baby. Like, I don't got the time. I don't know. I just was just like, I can't have no baby. So I was not, I didn't plan on keeping it. I don't even want to say that, but I didn't plan on keeping the baby. So effort initially. So just remember that, because that is a big part too. So I didn't plan on keeping the baby. I didn't want it at first, but when we took the test or whatever, like that's when I started contemplating. And they was just like, well, whatever you choose to do, you know, I agree. But they was like, I don't want you to have no abortion. Mind you, my best friend does not. I don't want to say she's against abortions, but you know, because of her religion and her grandmother's beliefs, you know, she don't really do abortion or whatever. But she was still telling me, like, if you decide to do it, then I'm gonna support you. And so did my sister and my soul sister, whatever. They was just like, it was like, yeah. So, and then eventually my sister ended up admitting, she was like, well, I'm excited to be an aunt or whatever. So I was like, of course you are. So my best friend called me right now. So yeah, so she was like, well, I'm excited to be an aunt and everything. And then that's when my best friend was like, yeah, I'm excited to be a godmommy. Like, yeah. So I was like, I already knew that, but they was trying to keep their excitement on a low because I was not on a high. Sorry, I was not on a high. Like, I wasn't sad, but I was just like, excuse me, I don't know, y'all. I can't explain how I felt, because I don't know. It's hard to put in words. Like, I wasn't excited, but I wasn't sad, because I wasn't shocked, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So that was that. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't shocked. So they ended up leaving that night. I think they left that night, and I was fine that night. Like, you know, I was just like, okay, well, I gotta tell him being her father tomorrow. You know, her father. I was like, I gotta tell him tomorrow, whatever. So I was like, and the only reason why I'm not gonna say his name is because, like, this is my story and how it went for me. I mean, he's not a secret or nothing, but don't think too deep into it. Like, yeah. Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna have to tell him or whatever. I wasn't afraid to tell him no. So the next day I had went to school, I think. Yeah, the next day I went to class. And on my way back, I was in the car and I texted him like, yeah, I gotta tell you something, it's important, whatever. So he like, okay. So I told him. He didn't have a bad reaction or nothing at all. He was shocked. So mind y'all, my reaction wasn't shocked because I had suspicions or whatever. He was shocked, of course, because he had no pregnancy symptoms or nothing. So he was shocked or whatever, but he was just like, okay, well, I gotta tell my mom. We're gonna do, like, how are you okay, stuff like that. Like, he was supportive. So, you know, it wasn't really a burden telling him or nothing. So when I was telling him though, I was like distraught. Like, I was like, because I don't know, it's like when I had to tell him, it kind of became a little bit too real for me at the time. Like, I mean, even though it's real, but like that was like the solidification, like, oh my gosh, like this is really about to happen. So when I told him, I was just feeling all the emotion and stuff. So on the phone, like, I was real like emotionless, and I was like kind of out of it. Like, I just wasn't, I don't know, I was just really nervous. So he had told me like, okay, well, I'm gonna tell my mom or whatever. He told his mom that night. I told him. So when we had got off the phone, I was crying. When we got off the phone, I broke down or whatever. Like, I held it together on the phone, but I was like, I don't know, yeah, I was real like nonchalant on the phone because I was trying to hold back my tears. Like, I didn't want to say too much because I didn't want to cry. So when we got off the phone, I broke down because I was like, dang, he about to tell his mom. Like, you know, it's just really getting real. Like, for one, it's getting real. Two, I still gotta tell my parents. So he was like, yeah, when I tell her, she might want to talk to you. Then he told me that his mom might want to talk to me. I don't know why that made me nervous. Like, y'all, meeting somebody's mom is already a lot. Like, I had already met her, but you coming up saying that, you know, you're pregnant by your son is like, that's different. So I was just like, bro, I was nervous. So I was like, okay, well, you know, if she, you know, if she want to talk out, you know, that's fine. Of course she gonna want to talk, but you know. So yeah, the next morning, I think it was the next morning, I think his mom texted me that night and then the next morning I talked to her. That conversation went well too, and I was just telling her like how I had to tell my parents and everything, like how I didn't tell them yet. And she was like, oh, well, when do you plan on telling them and stuff? And I was just like, what day? Oh, I had chose to tell my dad on Sunday because it was a Sunday, so I waited a week to tell them because, mind y'all, I told y'all I don't live in Baltimore, so that was the only day that everybody was free where I could tell him. So I told him like I had asked him to come see me, and I didn't tell him that I had something to tell him because my dad is the type to like, if you say a certain thing that may worry him, he's going to be worried. Like, he's not going to let you wait till, you know, he wouldn't have let me wait until Sunday to tell him. So I didn't text him like, I got something to tell you, whatever. I was just like, can you come see me on Sunday, because he comes up here sometimes and we, you know, go out to eat and stuff like that. So I was just like, no, I just want to see you and talk to you. And y'all, all I said was that, and he kind of was still worrying. Like, he would call me like, yeah, you good? Like, you know, what you gonna talk to me about? He like, oh, do you then he texted me like, yo, what's up? Like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I just want you to come down here and talk. It was something I had to tell him, but I wasn't going to say it through text. I just feel like that's not something you say through text. So I was like, no, I just need you to come out here or whatever. So y'all, so that whole week I knew that Sunday was coming up or whatever. So I knew that Sunday was coming up, and I still waited a few days to even text him and ask him to come, because I was like, oh, like, they like, did you tell him to come yet? I'm like, no. They like, well, you need to tell him, like, you know, you need to tell him. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm just scared. Like, I was scared. So that whole week, y'all, I was distraught. Like, when I say distraught, like, I couldn't sleep, I could barely eat. Like, I just was like, I was just so scared. And not because like, I mean, I'm sorry I keep looking out the window, but I was just so scared because, I mean, telling your parent, like, I know parents always be like, you know, you can talk to me about anything or whatever, but when it's time to actually talk to them, y'all, it's like your nerves be bad. Like, you know, something that big too, it's like your nerves be bad. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like, Jesus. Then it's your dad at that. Like, any girl telling their dad they pregnant, it's just like, oh my God. So yeah, so I wasn't able to sleep. Like, I would wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Every night I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would just cry. Like, I just kept crying and crying. Like, I cried so much that week. I cried so much that week. I was having like many panic attacks. Like, my hands was getting clammy, my heartbeat was racing and stuff. I had to sit in my fan, calm myself down. Like, y'all, it was bad. Like, it was bad. I was just so scared, and I was just letting the thoughts get the best of me or whatever. So that's why I'm making this video, because during that time, the thing that helped me was watching other story times. Like, it helped me cope a little bit. It helped me kind of get prepared to do what I had to do. Like, and in every video, the girls was like, don't be afraid to tell your family. Like, you have to tell them. Like, you're gonna have to tell them. Like, being pregnant is not, like, it's not something you can hide. Like, literally, it's not something you can hide. Like, they're going to see it, so you have to tell them. So I was like, yeah, you gotta tell them. So I was just like, well, you know, the day is coming. So I didn't tell him alone. My cousin was there with me because she wasn't here to take the test or whatever. So, but she did come to tell him. So he came out here that Sunday, and he was just in, y'all, I remember this day. He was in such a great mood. Like, he was just so happy and everything. And I had made breakfast, and he came so early. Like, he came so early in the morning. He came at like 11 o'clock. I think he came at like 11 o'clock in the morning, or maybe like 10 something. I don't know, but he came early. But that day was really nice outside, so I wanted to go out. But he ended up coming early, so I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just make breakfast then. So I made breakfast. I had made some shrimp and grits for us or whatever, for me, him, and my cousin. So, oh, that's another thing. He got here before my cousin got here, so I was like, bro, she gotta hurry up. Like, she gotta hurry up. And then I had on like some leggings, an oversized hoodie, and my Crocs or whatever. I was still in my pajamas because it was early. And you know, I usually sleep in, but I had to get up early because he was like, "Yeah, don't be sleeping in. I'm coming at this time." And I was like, "Dang, like that's early. Not early for me to saw him, but early in general." Like, so, then he was like, so yeah, we were just having small talk or whatever. I was still cooking. By the time the food got done, my cousin ended up showing up or whatever. And he was, you know, they was talking. We was eating. They were tearing the food up, y'all. I could not eat. Like, I was like kind of picking at it, eating a little bit, but I couldn't eat. So, and I don't know why I started off telling him this way, but I was just like, oh yeah, so yeah, your daughter's not like a virgin anymore. And he was like, wait a minute, like, you know, he had to take a minute to what's the word? I don't know. He had to take a minute to take in what I just said or whatever. So he was taking it in, and he was like, wait, like, I'm not ready for this, like, you know. So then we was inside the house, so we had went outside to talk. So we went outside to talk, and he had went outside first. And my cousin was like, should I come? And I'm like, yeah, you should come. Like, I need you right here. I need you right here. So we went outside or whatever, and I thought I was gonna cry, but I didn't cry. Well, I teared up a little bit, but I didn't really cry. So I ended up telling him whatever, and he was like, okay, no, let me tell y'all in detail how I told him, because when people be making their videos and they be like, oh yeah, and I told them, I'll be wanting to know, like, well, how'd you say it? So this is how I said it. So I was like, yeah, so we went outside. He's like, so you're not a virgin? Like, you know, who was the boy? And he already knew about the boy before I told him. He didn't know much about him, but he knew about him a little bit. So I told him or whatever, and he was like, oh, what made you want to do it with him? Did y'all, I think he asked, like, did we use protection or whatever? So I was like, I had told him, I said, yeah, that's where the mistake comes in. And he's like, what mistake? Like, and I'm like, yeah, a big mistake. And he like, how big? And I'm like, it's pretty big. Like, I'm like, how do you say the words I'm pregnant? Like, how do you form your mouth to say I'm pregnant? Like, I could not say it. So my cousin was right there though. So, you know, I was like, oof. I was kind of relaxed and kind of not. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know if he asked me if I was pregnant or if I said it. I don't really remember. So either way, it ended up coming out like that. So he was just like, wow, or whatever. So his initial reaction was like, he basically was just like, don't be afraid to tell me stuff. Like, I'm not gonna look at you no differently or anything. He was like, you know what you could have did differently or whatever. So now we just gotta do what we gotta do from here. Then we went back inside the house, and we was talking about it, and I was telling him, like, he was the first person I told. I didn't tell nobody else. Told him more about the boy, told him how far along I was. Yeah, my cousin kept trying to tell me, like, show him your stomach, and I was just like, like, I don't know why I didn't want to show him my stomach, because he was going to see it anyway, but I was scared to show him, so I didn't. And he wanted to see it. No, I did show him a little bit, and he was like, y'all, his reaction was kind of funny, actually, like, but he was like joking around and stuff, and he was just basically making sure, like, if I wanted to keep the baby or not. And by the time I had talked to my dad about it, I did want to keep the baby, because when I was thinking about my reasonings for not wanting my baby, it was like kind of selfish reasons, like, because I want to, you know, well, not that it's selfish, but when you have a child, it's selfish. Like, you know, I want to still do this. I want to be young. I want to go party. I want to be in school. I want to, you know, just live my life. Like, I'm only 20, so. And then I was just like, nah, that's selfish. Like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I decided to keep the baby. So he was just like, okay, you know, if that's what you want to do, I support you, whatever. And yeah, so he ended up leaving for 5 minutes. He left for 5 minutes and then turned right back around and called me like, yeah, come back outside. And he was just basically saying like how he didn't want to leave me if he think I needed him, because I was planning on telling my mom that day. So, and I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I could tell her or whatever. So I tried to tell her that day. We were supposed to be meeting at my aunt's house for something, just to see each other, whatever. But we didn't end up going. So I didn't tell her that day. So I told my grandfather that night, cause I live with him. So I told my grandfather that night, and he was like, as soon as I told him, he was like, "Are you really? For real? Like, you're really pregnant?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Seriously?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we basically talked about it. He was like, "Well, you know, it's gonna be hard, but you're not gonna struggle. You have a lot of support." He basically told me like, "Yeah, you can move in the basement or whatever." So I'm gonna be moving in the basement. I'm gonna show y'all that process too. But I'm gonna be moving in the basement or whatever. But his reaction was cool, whatever. He didn't really do much. He was like kind of joking about it more than we had a serious conversation. He was just basically saying like, you know, you have support, just stay focused, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. So that was that. Still had to tell my mom. So the next morning or the next day, my mom had came over to get her mail or something. But I was like, well, she here now, so I might as well tell her. So she was here, and I was like, yeah, Ma, I got something to tell you. I want to talk to you about something. And she was like, okay. And my godmother was on the phone. So she like, oh, well, can she hear? And I'm like, yeah, she can hear. So I told my mom, y'all, and I'm like, I said, your baby is having a baby. And she was like, what? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. She was just like, I don't believe you. Like, right off the bat, she was like, I don't believe you. And y'all, I don't blame her for not believing me, because I play pranks on them all the time. Like, when I say prank, like, I think I probably did this prank on her before, but all the time. So she was like, I don't believe you, you play too much. And I'm like, no, like, this for real this time. So I show her the test. She still don't believe that. So my godmother's on the phone, and my godmother's like, wait, what? Is she playing or is she serious? I don't know what to believe. And I'm like, I'm serious, but she don't believe me. And my godmother just like, she like, well, if you are serious, then congratulations, but are you playing? And I'm like, no, I'm not playing. My mom is like, I don't believe you. Like, y'all, she was not giving up. She just didn't believe me. So I was like, oh my gosh. So eventually, no, she told me to call my aunt. She said, call your aunt and tell her then. So mind you, my aunt is a teacher, so she's at school teaching. And I'm like, no, I don't want to tell her this at work. Like, this is not something you say at work. She called her anyway, and my aunt answers the phone. And I tell her, my aunt, I don't believe you. Send me the test. I sent her the test. Nah, I still don't believe you. Like, y'all, they was not believing me. So, and my grandfather was down there. My grandfather was like, she's not lying. Like, she's dead serious. So they like, where you get those tests from? And I'm like, they're mine. Like, so I finally stood up and showed her my stomach. I said, Mom, I'm pregnant. So she like, oh my gosh. Like, so she was just like, she just came to me, gave me a hug or whatever, and was like, well, luckily I can watch the baby or whatever, blah blah blah. And she was just in shock. Like, she was in shock. She still had to take time to process or whatever, but they was not believing me at first. And then even after my mom believed me, my aunt still ain't believe me, y'all. Like, she still ain't believe me. I sent her a picture of my stomach. She ain't believe that. I was just like, bro, like, she was not going for it. Eventually she believed me, but at first she wasn't believing me. So yeah, once we told them, we had to tell my grandmothers and all of them, my grandparents and stuff. We told all of them. So it was time to find doctors and everything, and we could not find an OB out here. Like, it was so hard to find an OB out here. Eventually, no, it wasn't hard to find an OB. It was hard to find one that took my insurance. And I didn't want to go to just anybody, because y'all know how they be doing black women when it comes to birth and stuff. So I didn't want to go to just anybody. So we found a good one, and they've been really good. Like, you know, they've been really good. We made my appointment. I forgot when my first appointment was. I forgot when I first went to the doctor. But my first appointment, my mom came, and yeah, they did like a ultrasound, but it wasn't like a legit one. It was like one that the midwife had did, just to hear the baby's heartbeat and stuff, make sure everything's okay, since I haven't had no prenatal care for 5 months, so she wanted to make sure everything was good. Got my prenatal medicine, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, but so since then, since I told everybody, it has been great. Like, as depressed and distraught I was prior to me telling them, all of that has vanished. Like, I've been just nothing but joy, like pure joy, because my support system has been amazing. Like, and I don't know why I expected anything less from them, because they never showed me anything less than that. But you know, this was big, so I was scared to tell them. So yeah, they was just all of their reactions were good. Nobody you know, was judgmental. Nobody made me feel bad, nothing like that. So you know, that was that. Because y'all, at first I didn't want a baby shower, I didn't want a gender reveal, I didn't want to tell nobody, I didn't want nothing. Like, I was not trying to have it. Eventually we ended up having a gender reveal. As y'all saw, we had the gender reveal, and it's a girl. We're having the baby shower June 4th. And yeah, like, everything has been going great. My baby is 4 pounds and 3 ounces already. She is due June 30th. And I'm so excited, y'all. I'm so excited. So let me show y'all the picture close up so y'all can see. I'm so excited. I have better pictures, like 3D pictures of her face, but we used them as decorations at the gender reveal, so I gotta find them. But yeah, so that's my story time. I hope it helped y'all. Basically, just don't be afraid to tell your parents whatever y'all decide to do. Like, if you're going to keep the baby, you know, let your parents know. And if you thinking about having an abortion, let your parents know as well, because that's not something, I don't think that's something y'all should go through, you know, by yourself. Like, you're going to need that emotional support. But you know, also, y'all know y'all parents better than I know y'all parents, so y'all may know how they're going to react. I thought I knew how my parents was going to react, but it was the complete opposite. So you know, you never really know. So yeah, that's about it. I'm really trying to think if I'm missing anything, but I don't think I am. Everybody has been supportive. The father, his family, my family. Y'all, I forgot to give y'all a bump date, but this is the bump date. And you know, everything's been great so far, so that's it.